Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we will learn how to do a composition in After Effects. We will learn how to use the key light tool to remove green screens, use the screen blending mode to remove black screens. We will learn how to mask a layer and feather it, how to animate a layer and use keyframe interpolation techniques, add layers to each other, add music or sound effects into Premiere Pro, and finally exporting the video. I will leave timestamps in the video so you can skip to any part you would like to visit. Let's get right into it. So first we want to make sure we're on the correct workspace. So go to Workspace and press Effects. Then go to Workspace again and reset Effects to saved layout. Okay, now let's import our footage in. Make sure you're on the project panel. And drag and drop your footage in After Effects. Okay, so now we need to add a new composition. So you go to Composition, New Composition, set your width, your height, your frame rate, and your name. I'm gonna do composition 1, press OK. Now we have our composition. A composition is basically like a folder containing all of your layers. Let's fit the view. Now let's drag our background in the composition. Let's rename it. It's super important to rename your layers so you have a clean workspace. Drag and drop the second layer, rename it, press enter to rename, and enter again after you finished renaming. Now to remove the green screen, go to Effects, Keying, and Key Light, or you can go to the Effects and Presets panel and type Key Light, and it will filter out all of the effects. Now you can drag and drop the effect into the layer. Then all you have to do is go to the screen color picker and select the background color. So why green is the best color for green screening? Because it doesn't contrast with the skin tones. If I had a red background, the actor's skin will also fade into the background. As we do as humans, we have some red tones in our skin. Also, blue is good to use. Now go to Projects. Let's look at the next layer we want to add. Maybe I want to add this lens layer. So drag and drop it. Let's scale it up. Hold Shift. Now how do we remove blacks in a layer? Go to Blend Mode and from Normal choose Screen, which will remove all the dark tones. If you don't have it, click on the toggle switches to get the blending modes option visible. Let's find another layer. So before you drag and drop something, it's Good practice to view what it is first, so double click. And now we're on the layer. So notice how we have the layer panel and we have the composition panel. Click on the layer panel. So we don't want this whole video, we only want a certain part of it. So I want the video to begin from here. So click on the set endpoint to current time to trim the video beginning to here. Then go to the end and set out point to current time. Now we only have this section. So go back to composition and drag and drop your layer in the composition. Notice how it only has the section we selected. Let's rename it, press enter to rename. Go to effect, key, and key light. Choose the color. Now I want the tiger behind the b-roll, so position is where you want it to be and reorder the layer. So first let me rename this lens flare layer, press enter. Now let's order the tiger layer underneath the men talking layer. And now he's behind them. Okay, so scale him down, press hold shift. And if you would like to change the colors or the shadows or the highlights of a layer, go to Effect, Color Correction, and Lumetri Color, which has all the settings you need to adjust the colors of a layer. In Basic Correction, we have temperature, tint, saturation, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows. So many different settings. Let's maybe increase the saturation a little bit to get some brighter colors. Maybe I want to add some vignette. So go to vignette and increase the amount. Okay, that looks good to me. Now let's go to project. Let's drag another element in the composition. So maybe, let's see. So maybe I would like this Among Us character in my composition. So again, set the endpoint. Go to the last frame you would like. And set the out point. Now drag and drop the layer into the composition. Go to Effects, Keying, Key Light, and choose the background color. Let's rename it Among Us Character. Let's put it behind the men talking layer. Let's scale them down, hold Shift to scale proportionally. And maybe I want to animate him going from the right to the left. How do I do that? First, go to the first frame and let's position him here. Click the arrow button, go to transform, and I want to animate the position. So click on the stopwatch icon, which notice how it will create a keyframe for us. Now let's go to where we want the second keyframe to be. Maybe I want the second keyframe to be at the end of the video. So I'm gonna click and drag the layer to the left, and notice how it already automatically created a keyframe for us since we moved the position. Okay, so now let me trim the work range, hold Shift. Okay, so now our first keyframe has the character on the right, and the second keyframe has the character on the left. So we only used 2 keyframes. So notice how the sun flare layer changes. So let's solo the layer. Click on here to solo a layer and hide all the other layers. Notice how it's going from blue to warmer colors. We want to split it. How do we split a layer? So go to where you want to split, go to Edit, and Split Layer. Command Shift D. Now we split the layer into 2 halves. So the second half is in a separate layer. Press Delete to delete the rest. And now we only have the blue parts. But it's too short. How do I make it longer? Right click on the layer, go to Time, and then Time Stretch. Right now it's 100, which means nothing happens to the video. If you want to make it double the time, so do 200, which will double the video. Make it 0.5 slower. Now let's unsolo the layer to see the other layers. Okay, that looks good. Okay, back to the Among Us character. It's too slow for me. How do we make him go faster? All you need to do is bring the keyframes closer to each other. So I brought the last keyframe closer to the first one, and notice how now it goes by faster. Let's maybe even make it closer, and notice how now it will even go faster. Okay, now I would like to add some easy ease. So right click on the keyframe, go to Keyframe Assistant and Easy Ease In. This will make it start smoother. Go to the last frame and Easy Ease Out. This will make it go by smoother at the end. Okay, maybe I want the Among Us character to go in a zigzag motion throughout the video. How do I do that? It's very easy. I just go to where I want him to go down and drag him down like this, which notice how it will create a keyframe for us. And then maybe go here and bring him up. And this will also automatically add a keyframe in the timeline. Okay, that looks good. Let's preview it. Okay, that looks way better. Now let's try an easy ease and see how it looks like with an easy ease. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. See how it goes by. It comes to the second keyframe smoother and slower. So I personally don't like this, so I will do Ctrl Z to undo, or you can go to keyframe interpolation, right click, keyframe interpolation, and set it back to linear. And let's preview it. Okay, there we go. This is how keyframe interpolation works. The first one we have hold, which means there's no animation. And then we have linear, which doesn't change the speed at all. We have easy ease, smoother animation, easy ease in, and easy ease out. Super important to use these in your animation to make your animation smoother. Let's look at another element to add to our composition. Maybe I want to add this sci-fi element, which is already cropped, doesn't have any distractions. So I'm gonna drag it into the composition. And how do I remove black screens again? I go to blend mode. From normal, change it to screen, which will remove all the black colors. And let's rename it to sci-fi target. Make it smaller, hold shift. Right now I think it's too long, so I want to make it go faster. So go to time stretch, and let's make it 50%. And press OK. This will make it go faster. Maybe I want it even faster, so go to time stretch and make it 25% faster. Press OK. Now it's faster. So maybe I want to target the Among Us character. So how do I do that? Go to any frame in your timeline and align the target with the Among Us character. Maybe I want it here. That looks good. And then don't move the frame. Go to here, right click, and make sure parent a link is shown. Now we want to parent our sci-fi target to the Among Us character. Click and hold on the whip and drag it to the Among Us layer. Now, if we have a look, the target is parented to the Among Us character. Okay. I also want to show you how to crop a layer. So I have this picture of the Mona Lisa. How do I crop it? First, let me position it here. Then you can click the rectangle tool and crop like this. Or you can use the pen tool for more precise cropping. So click on the points of the frame. And it will crop it like this. And notice how now we have mask 1. So you can invert it like this. Click the invert button. Now it will do the opposite of what we selected. Okay, let's maybe add some feather. So go to the mask feather and notice how the feathering change of the mask. And we also have mask expansion, which expands or contracts the mask. Let's lower the feather. Okay, that looks fine to me. Let's bring it below. And now it looks like the Mona Lisa is actually there. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna show you what these buttons do real quick. So the I button basically hides the layer. The volume button is to mute or unmute. The circle button is to solo a layer, and the lock layer is to make it so you can't select a layer accidentally. Let's mute all of these layers. Okay. Let's also add some motion blur. So I want to add some motion blur to the Among Us character, and it will make it look more realistic. This is without, this is with, and this is without the motion blur. So now before we render the video, let's make sure we have the right section we want to render. So go to the end of where you want your video end to be and drag the work range area. So I want the beginning to be in the first frame, so this looks right to me. You can also go to the first frame you would like to be and press the letter B to set the in of the range and N to set the out of the range. Let's do Ctrl Z. And now let's go to File, Export, and Add to Render Queue. Let's click on this link to decide where we want to save it. And you can rename it to anything. I'm gonna rename it to green screen composition. Save and render. Make sure you click the render button. Or you can render a media encoder. Okay, let's click render. Okay, there we go. Now I'd like to add some music to the video. You can add music in After Effects, but Premiere Pro is much easier and intuitive to use. So go to Premiere Pro, select the location where you want to save your project. I'm going to save it here and click Create. And now we have a new Premiere Pro project. So let's drag and drop our video into Premiere. Make sure you're onto the editing workspace. Go to workspace again and reset to save layout to make sure we all have the same workspace layout. Now let's right click on the video and do new sequence from clip. A sequence is basically the same thing as a composition. It's a folder containing all of your layers. So it will be a sequence, which acts the same way as a composition in After Effects. So now let's go and find some music for our video. I will go into Chrome, search for maybe Among Us remix. Let's hear this one. Okay, I like this one, so right click, copy video URL. Then I like using this website, loader.to. Paste your URL into here. And make sure you have the correct format selected. So I want audio, so I'll select MP3 and click download. Then you can click download here again. Save. And now we can drag and drop our music into Premiere Pro. We can drag and drop here, or we can drag and drop into the timeline. Now the music's too long, so I would like to crop it. So click the razor tool, click on here to cut it. Go back to the selection tool and delete the rest. So click and delete. Now let's add some fade in so the music doesn't suddenly stop. It's good to have some fading in the beginning and the end. And we can make it, trim it like this. Now let's look at the video. Okay. Okay, that looks good to me. There's another way to crop the music, which will make it sound way better. So let me mute the first track. So we only want to hear the second track. So go to the remix tool. So click and hold and go to the remix tool. And let's trim it to the length of the video. And now Premiere Pro will use AI to crop or make the music. Okay, that starts and ends way better than the fade-in method. So try to use the remix tool if you have some music in your video. to lower the volume of a soundtrack, so click on the line and drag it below. Let's drag it to maybe minus 9.3 dB. And let's hear it now. And you can even adjust the volume while the video is playing. Good. So before you export a video, make sure you have the correct render range set. So right here I have it set to the length of my video. To change the range, you can click and drag in here, or go to your last frame, hold shift and press O and I for the first keyframe. So I and O in Premiere Pro and B and N in After Effects. Now let's go to File, Export, and Export Media. We can select where we would like to save it in this link. Click on here, and you can save it wherever you would like, and click Save. Choose the correct format, H.264 for videos, and I like to use adaptive high bitrate, and export. And there you go, we've exported our video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.